Welcome to Our Curious Amalgam, the weekly podcast brought to you by the Antitrust Law Section of the American Bar Association. Our Curious Amalgam explores the fascinating and increasingly overlapping world of competition, consumer protection, data protection, and privacy law. Each week, we bring you leading global experts on the most compelling issues of the day. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Our Curious Amalgam. I'm Alicia Downey, and the title of today's episode is What's Happening in Paraguay and Costa Rica? Catching up with international enforcers at the 2025 Spring Meeting. The Antitrust Law Section's annual spring meeting in Washington, D.C. is the premier opportunity for practitioners, government enforcers, economists, and in-house counsel from around the world to exchange ideas about competition, consumer protection, and data privacy law and policy. During this year's meeting, the Our Curious Amalgam team was able to record interviews with senior competition agency enforcers face-to-face. In this episode, I'll be speaking with Commissioner Eduardo Barros from the Competition Commission of Paraguay, or CONACOM, created just a little over 10 years ago. In the second part of this episode, Matt Reynolds interviews Viviana Blanco Barboza from another relatively young agency, the Commission for the Promotion of Competition of Costa Rica, or COPROCOM. You'll hear what's been happening in their respective agencies, as well as a little bit about what makes them happy outside of competition law. Enjoy the conversations. I'm here at the spring meeting with one of the commissioners of the National Competition Commission of Paraguay, Eduardo Barros. Welcome to Our Curious Amalgam.
Thank you, Alicia. It's a pleasure for me to be here and looking forward to the conversation with you.
I thought it would be good to start off our conversation by trying to get a sense of the overall structure of the Commission, CONACOM, and where it fits into the enforcement regime in Paraguay.
So CONACOM is an agency that has, on one hand, a board with three commissioners. One, it's an economist, one is a lawyer, and one is a business administrator and accountant. That's by law, so we cannot have two lawyers or two economists. And then on the other hand, there's a chief prosecutor or chief investigator, who is the one who analyzes mergers, does the merger control, and also investigates conduct. So when this chief prosecutor presents his reports or accusations or not, then the board or the commissioners, we become a tribunal where we need to resolve if they're guilty, innocent, or approve or deny the merger control. And we have a team that works. Each one of these, let's say, internal departments have their own teams. We are missionally independent, so we cannot tell the chief prosecutor what to do or what not to do, and we're not obliged to follow what once he presents his reports or not. So there's a Chinese wall sort of thing in between. Administratively, we are the authority, so the board, there's a president of CONACOM. The president rotates every 2 years automatically, so there's no political or no internal fights or anything for that, and that's really, really nice. And today we have a team of 33 people. So growing slowly, organically, but growing.
Yeah, and you have a very nice website too, which we'll post a link to on the episode webpage.
And on that note, every single resolution, every single technical opinion, it's on our website, and it's of course totally open to download and analysis.
Very good. Well, one of the things we're asking all of the enforcers at this year's meeting is to tell us, if they can, up to 3 of their most significant accomplishments or initiatives over the past 12 months.
Okay, thank you for the question. We have a couple of projects, and one of them, which is very important, is the project to modify our law or update our law, the competition law, which was enacted in 2013. And we're right now in the middle of the process of, we presented the project to the executive branch, and we're looking forward to see what happens if it can be approved. Another project that we're working on is a system, machine learning, artificial intelligence in the future system to analyze public procurement, collusion and bid rigging and all those sorts of conducts. So we're working on that. We have the budget finally, and we're starting in the process to make it happen. And we are also doing a lot of technical opinions in the advocacy area, where we are analyzing regulations and anti-competitive or restrictive laws and regulations in our country, and we have had some success in that area, making some changes in a couple of markets.
Are these technical opinions in the nature of guidance for the companies, or are they case specific?
They analyze regulations. So when there's a law or one of the government secretariats, they make a resolution. For example, there's a limit in the amount of companies that can operate in certain industries, then we can publish an opinion about it. It is non-coercive, so we don't have, it's not obligatory, but the associations or the industry itself can use that to go and look for a change. And we have had some success in a couple of industries where we have actually worked together with this, let's say, Ministry of Health in this case, where we managed to turn around and open the market, take away the limitations, for example.
Ah, okay. Now, within your agency, what would you say are currently the top enforcement priorities?
So we've been having, we have a list of important markets or key markets where we look with care. One of them is a public procurement market, and our chief prosecutor has been mentioning to the public and in his interviews that he's looking forward to really taking an eye on possible conducts of collusion and situations in the public procurement area. So that's an area that we're really looking into. And then there are other markets where we that are key markets. You have like the retail market, construction, finance, and other type of markets that are of key importance for Paraguay.
Yeah. Your commission's very young, relatively speaking, just about 12 years old, maybe a little under. And so the question I had was whether more recently or perhaps throughout its short history, what are the biggest challenges that the commission faces in trying to advance its mission? So
the law came in 2013. The first board came in 2016 with 4 or 5 people only. And then actually since 2017-18, we started having mainly merger analysis control. And then 2 or 3 years ago, we started with the big cases on conducts. The big challenge, and I think everybody still has the challenge, even older agencies, is resources. But I would say that the main challenge is the culture of the country, which for many years has operated with certain conducts and culture. And now, since 10 years ago or 12, some of those conducts are not allowed by law. So we have a lot of challenges talking to or transmitting that to the business community and making sure that they know that they cannot do that any longer, and getting the support and not be just an enforcement kind of a bad cop sort of situation, but trying to do a lot of advocacy and promotion of the competition culture.
Now, I suppose this spring meeting has given you the opportunity to talk to a lot of other regulators, and I wondered if you'd heard anything or learned anything that you thought was surprising.
There was a panel this morning which was very, very interesting on AI and cross-border challenges, and there were people from Europe, from South America, from the US, and the world that's here and how fast it's evolving. I found a concept very interesting, that the speed with which AI is evolving and the challenges are evolving are much, much faster than the speed which the agencies can take care of things. So how are we going to manage that? It's a concern. There's still no answer, but I'm looking forward to listening to other points of view, and that really triggered a thought in my head. Even in Paraguay, which we're still young and we're maybe far away from those type of challenges, it's going to come.
Yeah. And you're not alone.
So that triggered a very interesting thought and doubt that I'm bringing back with me to analyze.
Now, before we let you go, we're going to ask you something we ask all of the guests on Our Curious Amalgam, which is to tell us something interesting or unusual about yourself or anything that you've accomplished that's completely outside of competition law or your professional life.
I have a 3-year-old daughter. I have a 14-year-old daughter, a 12-year-old son, but my 3-year-old daughter likes to do barbecue with me. So every time I'm going to prepare a barbecue and I'm going to put salt to the meat and season the meat, she wants to be there with me and touch and put the salt and season the meat with me. And my wife doesn't like that. So I have to do that without telling my wife.
Well, it's a little bit dangerous, no?
Nah. I'll show you some pictures later.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Eduardo, and we really appreciate your taking the time to speak with us.
It's been a real pleasure to meet you and to participate in this program.
We're broadcasting from the 2025 annual spring meeting, and today we're talking to Commissioner President Viviana Blanco Barboza of the Commission for the Promotion of Competition of the Republic of Costa Rica, or COPROCOM for short. Welcome to Our Curious Amalgam.
Thank you very much for having me here and giving me the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, we're very excited to hear about some of the new developments for COPROCOM. I'd like to start, if we could, by asking you what you consider to be COPROCOM's most significant accomplishments or initiatives over the past 12 months.
Yes, I believe that the COPROCOM's major achievement last year was the successful fulfillment of the measures recommended by the OECD Competition Committee as part of Costa Rica's accession process to the organization. These commitments involve effectively implementing and complying with the 2019 Competition Reform Act. And to achieve this, COPROCOM work on three main pillars. The first one is to strengthen the regulatory framework. And for that, we develop a series of technical regulations, handbooks, and guidelines to enhance the regulatory framework. For example, last year we issued publicized guidelines such as unilateral conduct and vertical agreements, analysis and notification of mergers, effective compliance programs, conducting market studies, and ex post analysis of a competitions authority enforcement decision. We also work in a second pillar, which was the institutional strengthening, and for that, the competition authority enhanced technical capacities and acquire the necessary tools to effectively fulfill the new functions established in the 2019 Competition Reform Act. For example, we conducted public recruitment processes to hire professionals for COPROCOM's three technical units, upgrade employees' IT equipment, renew the institutional agreement between COPROCOM and the Ministry of Economy. We are part of the ministry, and they provide for us administrative, IT, and infrastructure services. And the last pillar, and I think the most important one, was the effective enforcement of competition law. COPROCOM focus on conducting market studies in sectors that benefit from exemption from competition law, ensuring that their policy objectives remain relevant and could not be achieved through less anti-competitive measures. In this regard, COPROCOM conducted market studies of key sectors, including professional associations, sugar, rice, and more recently, pharmaceutical products, sectors that face significant regulatory barriers and structural inefficiencies. Additionally, we issue 16 opinions on draft laws covering important topics such as competitive neutrality, public procurement, and the regulation of pharmaceutical product margins. We also enhance international cooperation by signing technical cooperation agreements for training, information exchange, and technical assistance. In this sense, COPROCOM established various international agreements with other competition authorities and actively participated in international competition forums such as the ICN, OCDE, UNTAC, and several regional competition committees in Latin America.
Well, that sounds like a very, very busy past 12 months. If I might ask, how large is the team that COPROCOM has?
We are still a very small agency. We are 25. Actually, we are trying to hire more people, but the budget is restricted. So I think this is one of the main priorities of the Commission right now.
Is the team part attorneys, part economists, and part
yes,
other professionals?
Both of them.
Well, I wanted to ask next, what are COPROCOM's top current enforcement priorities?
I believe that COPROCOM's main priority is to strengthen its investigation unit. Currently, human resources are insufficient, as I said, We only have 5 people in this unit, and for example, last year the unit handled a total of 27 investigations into anti-competitive practices. Of these, 13 were complaints filed by third parties, while 14 were initiated ex officio. Most of our cases involve collusive bidding in public procurement processes, particularly in the pharmaceutical sector, public infrastructure projects such as road constructions, price fixing agreements in industries such as rice, sugar, flowers, among others. So we need to enhance the process of analysis and monitor of this market. So we need new tools to make screenings in the market. So we need more resources for that. Additionally, we must reinforce the agency's advocacy function. Costa Rica has a heavy regulatory burden in various strategic economic sectors, making it crucial to reduce and eliminate regulatory barriers to foster competition and improve consumer welfare. In this regard, the Commission's competition advocacy efforts are particularly important. This year, our objective is to conduct market studies to analyze competitive conditions in the electricity sector as well as in certain financial markets.
And what are the mechanisms that COPROCOM uses for enforcement? Is it civil, administrative, criminal, or some combination of those?
We have administrative processes.
And that can result in monetary penalties and other sort of injunctive remedies? Is that
yes,
as well?
We have penalties from 3% to 10% of the global income of the gross income of the enterprise, and also we can prohibit to participate in other public procurement processes for several years if you commit a collusive practice.
You mentioned that there's some work being done regarding market studies on sectors that might benefit from exemptions from the competition laws and regulations. If I might ask, what form does that exemption take? Is that a decision from COPROCOM or another form of decision or decree when there's an exemption?
Yes, in this case, by law, by sectoral laws, they benefit from these exemptions in certain acts that they can do, but they are not completely out of the competition law. For example, if they involve in a cartel or in a collusion, we can pursue this conduct.
And by the same token, you mentioned that you're doing market studies on sectors that might benefit from those exemptions. Are there particular market sectors that you think might be the focus of increased enforcement activity in the coming year?
Yes. Well, last year, for example, we were finishing the sectors recommended by the OECD Competition Committee, and now we are focused on electricity. We still have to work on coffee, rice as well. We receive a lot of complaints of the financial sector as well, so we need to work on this.
Another question I'd like to ask too, what are the biggest challenges that you think COPROCOM faces in accomplishing its mission?
I believe the main challenge for COPROCOM is to continue working towards securing the necessary budget to ensure effective competition enforcement while protecting the authority from political interference. Although the 2019 Competition Reform Act provides COPROCOM with sufficient financial resources to fulfill its mission, budgetary constraints persist. As a result, the National Competition Authority has been unable to expand its professional staff or acquire the necessary software and hardware for forensic analysis, for example. We also need to allocate more human and financial resources to the investigation unit, to the promotion unit, to strengthen efforts against collusion in public procurement processes. Recently, we issued guidelines for detecting collusive bidding schemes and received multiple requests from procurement officials for guidance on mitigating the risks of collusion among bidders and identify patterns of collusion in bidding and tendering processes. So we need human resources to attend these requests.
You mentioned before that a lot of your work in recent months and years has been in implementing OECD requirements. If I could ask, where are you in that process? Do you feel like you're most of the way there now and you're at a point where you can start forging your own path, or do you feel you're still in the middle of that implementation?
No, I think we are almost done with all the commitments and the measures recommended by the OECD. Actually, the only task that is pending doesn't depend of the Commission, which is the budget, the necessary budget, but because it depends of the government. But even when the agency is very small, we have accomplished the commitments and the challenges that they impose. Actually, we are already inside of the organization, and we passed the examination last year. So
that's great news. I understand, too, that this is your first time attending the ABA annual spring meeting, so welcome.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, what are your impressions so far being a first-time attendee?
Yes, I'm surprised about the strong participation of the international community. It's really impressive. The number of practitioners from Latin America, Europe, and Asia attending this event is amazing. I think the event's design and dynamics foster enjoyable interactions among participants, and the activities surrounding the ABA are also very engaging. I have definitely learned a lot from this trip.
That's fantastic. Well, we typically try to round out our episodes by asking a question to help listeners get to know you a little bit more as a person. And so if I might ask, could you share with us something interesting about yourself that maybe your coworkers don't know, like a hobby or something like that?
Well, I love hiking. Costa Rica is a country well known for its natural beauty, mountains, volcanoes. So it's really easy to enjoy outdoors activities in the country. For example, I live in front of a mountain. So making some activities as walking, hiking, and cycling is very nice for me. I truly enjoy being in contact with nature, and that make me feel in peace, something like that.
Absolutely. Is there a particular favorite hike that you would recommend to people if they visit Costa Rica?
Oh, we have several options. Maybe the volcanoes are a good option to start. We can see different landscapes there, and it's amazing.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Our Curious Amalgam, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time at the spring meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Our Curious Amalgam, a competition, consumer protection, data protection, and privacy law podcast. It is produced and shared around the globe by ABA's Antitrust Law Section. The opinions expressed by the participants in this podcast are their own and do not necessarily represent their employer or other organizations. If you like what you heard or would like to become a member of the American Bar Association, please check out what the Antitrust section has to offer at ambar.org/antitrust. You can learn more about our podcast at ourcuriousamalgam.com. If you have comments, suggestions, or podcast ideas, please reach out to us at podcast@ourcuriousamalgam.com. Until next time, thank you for listening.